Chapter 13. Contentment is a great virtue. Core value. Contentment is not the fulfillment of what you want, but the realization of how much you already have. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you don't have. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. Let's read. Many years ago, there lived a king named Midas in the ancient country of Phrygia. King Midas was very, very rich. It was said that he had more gold than any other king in the world. One room of his great castle was almost filled with yellow gold. At last, the king grew so fond of his gold that he loved it more than anything else in the world. One night, King Midas had a strange dream. In his dream, he saw a beautiful fairy coming to him. He was surprised. He asked, "Who are you? How did you enter my room and why?" The fairy replied, "Don't be scared. I'm a fairy. I won't cause any harm to you. I have come here to congratulate you for being the richest king in the world. There is no other king who has so much gold as you." The king said, "That may be. I have a room full of gold, but I want more. For gold is the best and the most wonderful thing in the world." "If it is so," said the fairy, "I can give you as much gold as you wish for. Tell me, how much gold do you want, and it shall be yours forever." Midas thought for a moment and said, "My wish is that whatever I touch should turn into gold." "Okay," said the fairy, "from today onwards, anything you touch shall turn into gold," said the fairy. After blessing the king, the fairy vanished. The king woke up early and thought about the dream he just had. He wondered if the promise of fairy had come true. He looked at his hands. There was no change in them. He touched his table, which at once turned into gold. He jumped out of the bed and ran about the room, touching everything he could see. Everything turned into gold. During the course of breakfast, he sat on the table and picked up an apple to eat, but he could not eat it, as it also turned into gold. When he tried to drink water, it also turned into gold. So he could not eat or drink anything. He was very upset. Midas had a beautiful and lovely daughter named Marigold. Of all living creatures, she was dearest to him. She came to him. No sooner did he touch her then she turned into gold. She stood like a beautiful statue made of gold without life in it. Tears rolled down the eyes of Midas as he could never eat nor drink anything, and his lovely daughter stood there like a beautiful golden doll. A great fear crept into the king's heart, sweeping all the joy of his life. Just then the fairy reappeared. King Midas touched her feet and begged for mercy. "Oh, fairy, please excuse me," he said, crying. The fairy asked, "What more do you want, Midas? Don't you have enough gold now? Please forgive me. I have realized my mistake. Gold is not everything in life. I don't want any gold. I want food, water, and my dear daughter. Please have pity on me," said Midas, crying. The fairy asked Midas to wash his hands from a jug full of water. Midas did the same as he was told to do. His hands became normal. Midas thanked the fairy and said, "But how shall I bring back my daughter to life?" The fairy touched his daughter and she was back in her form. Soon the fairy vanished. Dear children, in today's time, people are mad after money. Everybody wants to be rich and wealthy, either by hook or crook. Remember, money is not everything in life. People like Midas are never satisfied. A greedy person cannot lead a peaceful life. Only contentment leads to inner peace in human beings. We must always count our blessings. God has given us lots of things which we should appreciate. Greed makes people hollow from within. They even cause harm to others. Greedy persons have the tendency to exploit others. They cheat and defraud people and try to gain wealth through unfair means. Greed destroys the peace of their mind. They always have an eye on other people's wealth and feel discontented. Contentment is more valuable than a kingdom. Nowadays, people are becoming materialistic, and this is the cause of discontentment. Values like honesty and patience are receding. People have become selfish in their attitude. Once a king went to a saint and requested, "I wish to free myself of all my worries. Please suggest me how I can be happy and contented." The saint thought for a moment and said, "O king, there is one way in which you can fulfill your wish. You must sleep for one night in the shirt of a happy man." The king sent his soldiers to each and every part of his kingdom to bring the shirt of a happy man. The soldiers didn't find even a single man who was happy. They met thousands of people. At last, they met a poor beggar. The soldiers asked the beggar, "Are you very happy?" The beggar replied in the affirmative. The soldiers said, "Our king needs your help. For one night he wants your shirt." The beggar laughed and said, "I am sorry, I won't be able to help the king." "But why? If you don't give your shirt on request, we will forcefully take it away from you," said the soldiers. "I am sorry, I don't have a shirt to put on," said the beggar to the soldiers. When the soldiers told everything to the king, he realized the importance of contentment. A thirsty deer becomes the victim of a mirage in a desert and finally dies. Likewise, a greedy person can never be contented and leads a life full of worries. Discontentment leads to unhappiness, evasion, insecurity, mistrust, etc. Sister Nivedita of America had offered a huge amount of money to Swami Vivekanand, but Swamiji had refused the money and asked her to spend it for helpless poor people. Thus, contentment is a great virtue. We should learn to live contented and should be happy with the resources we have. You know now. 1. Contentment is more precious than a kingdom. Discontentment is the chief cause of frustration. 2. Contentment is like underground river whose course just cannot be daunted. 3. Discontentment leads to unhappiness, evasion, insecurity, mistrust, etc. 4. Greedy persons have the tendency to exploit others. Greed not only destroys the peace of mind but leads to a life full of worries. 5. Contentment is more valuable than anything in this world. Word: treasure, contentment, satisfaction. Exploit: to use selfishly. Defraud: to deprive of a right, money, or property by fraud.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe for more videos and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you.